Everyone has dealt with project management in some form, whether or not that is you've got projects for different clients, or as simple as you having a bigger vision or goal and breaking that down into smaller parts in order to get there. That is project management. Hi, by the way, I'm June, like the month. And today I want to talk about my top 2 hacks that I use for project management, and it's a must. But before going into those tools, I want to talk about the foundational principles that you need to apply when it comes to project management. To make project management truly effective, I believe that it involves leadership, your approach to delegation, and how well you actually integrate these systems and processes into your workflow. So let's get into it. These are the few points that I'm going to run through today. The first one is leadership and review. This involves the consistent engagement of when you're working with anyone else, whether that be somebody in your team or contractors or clients. It's required to, of course, have communication and have that open feedback during the process so that you're not getting to the end of a project and then realizing that's not on the same page as what was expected. In any project, it's so important for you to become a leader. You've got to manage this project, and it really comes down to you. You're accountable to make sure that the outcomes of this project happen. And the best way to ensure that it's on track and that you're meeting deadlines is to always keep the communication channels open and have regular moments of reviewing things or providing feedback. Don't provide somebody with part of a task and expect them to do something off a brief and not have moments where they give you a draft one or a draft two so that you can maybe provide some input on how the direction is going. Implementing a system where you can actually review things halfway through the process and not when it's completely done is really valuable, especially at the beginning when you're training somebody new into your team. Because if somebody has a certain way of working or a certain process that they're used to, and they go from 0 to 100% complete of this task, and you would have noticed even at the beginning that this isn't really on brand or it's not really the right tone, you're able to give that feedback early on so that they can actually integrate that feedback and make changes before they've already done so much work on it. Timely feedback is so necessary so that you avoid this kind of wastage of time, because you could have noticed that from the first paragraph of something that somebody's written that needed tweaking in some form, or it needs the right type of tone, or you need to give more input. Becoming a leader through this space is key to project management. And regardless of whatever project management tool that I use, without you being there to support the process and to show that you're actually there, it's always going to fall apart. It's important for you to actually step into that managerial role and take lead of it. You're in charge and you're accountable to make sure that if you are working with contractors or even if you're working with your clients, that the communication throughout the project is there. To support the efficiency of any project, you've got to tie this in with my second point, which is empowering the team, the project, through making sure you've got the right resources in place. What I mean by that is you've got to equip your team with necessary SOPs or maybe examples of what your brief actually refers to. The more information you provide, of course, the outcome's always going to be at a higher quality and more aligned to what you were expecting. The resources can lie within, say, a branding guideline, or maybe it's a Loom video that you are explaining and visually the process. Or it's just, hey, we've done this one before. This is an example of what I mean. Making sure that you're enabling your team is going to guarantee the best results and make it much more efficient when it comes to the output. Clearer briefs and being really clear on what expectations are out where, especially with deadlines, that's going to enable this project to finish quicker, finish smoother, and everybody's happy. So it's extremely important to enable your team as much as possible and add in resources where you can. An example of this on how you would do that is I have templates generally for Google Docs or a sheet And I try my best to provide an existing template before setting up a new task. Or we usually, anything related to design, we have a brand kit that's already embedded or integrated with the tools that we're using. Let's say we're using Canva, and for our client, it will already have their fonts, their colors, everything already in the system so that it makes their work easier. So equip them with the right resources. Same with different tools as well. If there is a tool that minimizes the amount of time that they need to do something, ChatGPT, Descript with video editing, all the other ones in my 33 hacks, when you are able to provide them with extra tools so that it makes their life easier, they're going to feel more empowered to do the work and do it in a way where they feel also supported. Okay. So empower your team, help them help you. The third point I have is system integration and workflow optimization. This comes down to making sure that your project management approach, all of it, fits in with how you currently work. There is no point you going into a crazy new tool or new system that doesn't align with how you work. It's just adding more complications, or it's adding more stress because you're trying to figure out something else new. Of course, when it comes to integrating, it's really important to give it that space, to give it some time, but know that you must be willing to do the work and show up consistently in this process. Otherwise, if you drop off as a leader and as the person who people around you are relying on that feedback, that's actually going to break the flow of the project overall. And it's going to be a negative impact. If you're not in there, if you master project management and really enable all the pieces to work seamlessly together, in the long run, that actually saves you so much time. And then you start identifying even more and more opportunities to reclaim time back for you to focus on other things. At the beginning, it's something that might feel very foreign because you're used to doing everything yourself as entrepreneurs. But I guarantee you, once you really hone in on this skill and continue to curate your style in project management, it is going to be a game changer. And it does save you the most time. Okay. Those are my 3 main hacks around effective project management. But of course, let me share with you 2 absolute must tools when it comes to project management. I use these on a daily, and I'm going to share with you some hacks within them to use them differently than you might already do. The first one is a little obvious, and that is the Google Suite. This includes docs, sheets, slides, forms, and everybody should be using these tools, of course, for the element of the cloud and saving your work and not having to worry about that and accessing these files from wherever, whatever computer that you're working from. I absolutely personally hate it when I have any blockers within my project where somebody says that they don't have access. It's like access denied when you open up a doc. It pisses me off. Because I just think that you don't need to deal with that. Of course, you can forget when you're creating the doc or you're creating a new file. How we manage that is we just make sure that every single thing is always under a master folder that is broken down into other folders within that. But then whoever's on your team, whoever's within that client folder, that should already be shared at the top, so that anything that goes into those folders, you never have to worry about access denied. Part of that is including that when you're creating or making a copy of the doc, it doesn't just sit in the home folder, it gets moved into the right folder before any work gets started. I'm sure that everybody already uses the Google Suite, and if you aren't, you definitely should be. The second tool is ClickUp. This is the absolute GOAT. I love it. And I have tested every other project management tool under the sun. This tool enables me to manage my global team without any problems. Everything's tracked. All my projects for each client are very clear in there, and it enables them to do the work. I wake up, I see what everyone's done. There's complete transparency. I don't need to micromanage. And I feel good that each day, even if I'm not online constantly, I know that things are getting sorted. I'm not going to get into all of what ClickUp can do because that is absolutely in another video. If you're curious on how ClickUp can really help your business and how it's really optimized mine, But I will say that regardless of whatever project management tool that you have committed to, it comes down to what we spoke about before around you showing up consistently, you giving the feedback, you becoming a project manager in this so that you can enable your entire team, you can enable great projects and smooth execution. I believe that this is such a key tool to master in order to scale your business. So, to wrap up, we talked about the effective project management principles. First off, being a leader and making sure you've got reviewing within the process itself. The second, being to empower through enabling your team and having the right resources in place and accessible. And the third is, of course, integrating whatever you use into your actual workflow and make sure that it's not disruptive. Know that there are benefits to implementing project management. And even though it might feel like you're doing extra work at the beginning, remember that it does compound over time and it does end up helping you really scale in the long run. The two tools that are a must have for project management are one, Google Suite, and two, ClickUp. These are part of my 33 hacks that are downloadable, and I will be going through all those later on. But I hope that was helpful for project management. I hope you're enabled more. And if you like the vibe, please subscribe. I'm JuneAye, and I hope you have an amazing day. Ciao. Bye.